Hello everybody, my name is Yaman and I provide daily updates on Tesla, markets, and technology. Let's get started. Dow Jones is down 0.2%, Nasdaq is up 0.5%, S&P 500 is up 0.2% today. Oil prices sank 4% by $2.43 to $63 per barrel. Pending home sales came in higher than expected. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Treasury yields dropped 3, 4, 5, 6 basis points depending on where you look at the curve. 10-year Treasury yield is at 4.14. You can see Nvidia is up 2.3%. Apple is down 1%. Everything else is mixed except for oil stocks that are down. S&P 500 Nasdaq rise as investors look past hawkish talk, await shutdown clarity. The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq indices gained on Monday, kicking off a potentially turbulent week on a strong footing as investors shrugged off hawkish remarks from a Fed official and weighed the impact of looming government shutdown. The moves built on Friday's gains when an inline inflation print kept hopes for rate cuts alive and lifted all three major indices despite their overall declines for the week. Cleveland Fed President Beth Hammack, among the most hawkish Fed officials and not a voter on policy this year, said the central bank needed to maintain restrictive monetary policy to cool inflation. Traders, however, are pricing in a 91% chance on a 25 basis point cut at the next Fed meeting. The S&P 500 technology sector gained about 1%, on Nvidia rose 3%, while Micron added 5%. Lam Research advanced 3% after Deutsche Bank upgraded the rating on the chip-making equipment firm to buy from hold. The stocks drove the broader semiconductor index to a record high, as well as boosted the Nasdaq. Communication services stocks added 1% on the S&P 500. Energy stocks declined by 2%. Attention is now riveted on a standoff between Republicans and Democrats over funding that has raised the prospect of a shutdown beginning Wednesday, the first day of the U.S. government's 2026 fiscal year. I don't think the shutdown is a doomsday scenario, said Mal Casey, senior portfolio manager at FBB Capital Partners. Still, some analysts warned that the shutdown could stall the release of key economic data, including Friday's non-farm payrolls report, and cloud the outlook for markets. The S&P 500 has gone 103 trading days without falling below its 50-day average, an unusually long streak that shows how strong the market has been. Though today, investors will monitor commentary from several Fed policymakers for any signs of concern over the potential loss of economic visibility should the shutdown materialize. U.S.-listed shares of cannabis-related companies rose, with Canopy Growth and Kronos Group climbing 16% and 12% respectively, while Tilray Brands added 36%. Trump on Sunday shared a video promoting the health benefits of hemp-derived cannabidiol. Electronic Arts climbed 5% after agreeing to be taken private in a $55 billion deal. Western Digital hit a record high and were last up 9% to top the benchmark index after at least two brokerages raised their price target on the data storage products maker. Seagate Technology rose 7% to hit a record high after at least two brokerages raised their target prices. Carnival fell 2% despite raising its annual profit forecast. Let's move on to Trump. Trump to host Oval Office shutdown meeting as key issues remained unresolved. President Trump will gather lawmakers from both parties in the Oval Office on Monday afternoon to avert a government shutdown, but there's little clarity about whether the issues that ground talks to a halt are even on the table for discussion. One issue at the heart of the stalemate is a right that the Trump team has reclaimed, allowing the president to unilaterally cancel previously approved government spending. The Democrats' position in response is that the only shutdown averting plan they will support, and their support is required in the Senate, is one that also restricts Trump's ability to cancel such spending, in part to ensure any agreement reached is actually enacted. Let's move on to artificial intelligence. An MIT report that 95% of all AI pilots fail spooked investors, but it's the reason why those pilots failed that should make the C-suite anxious. 95% of generative AI implementations in enterprise have no measurable impact on P&L, says MIT. Flawed integrations cited as why AI projects underperform. Many companies are rushing to implement various AI tools in their operation, but most of these pilot programs fail, according to an MIT study. Fortune reported that 95% do not hit their target performance, not because AI models weren't working as intended, but because generic AI tools like ChatGPT do not adapt to the workflows that have been already established in the corporate environment. Moving on to energy prices. Energy crisis looms as U.S. warehouses. Annual survey conducted by Industrial Real Estate Investment Trust Prologis revealed supply chain managers are becoming increasingly concerned with reliable energy sources for the warehouses they operate. Of the 1,816 senior executives polled across the globe, 89% said they experienced an energy-related disruption to operations over the past year. The outlook among the group is that reliable energy reliability could be the next major supply chain crisis. Almost 9 in 10 companies experienced energy disruption in the past year, from price volatility to weather-driven outages, among their report said. Executives are consequently worried about power reliability, with 7 in 10 saying they fear outages more than any other disruption. Mass adoption of AI technologies and the required build-out of data centers to support them will likely drive a 10 to 50% increase in power requirements over the next 5 years, 76% of the respondents said. 83% said energy procurement could reach crisis level. However, less than a third currently have backup systems in place. Interestingly, 90% said they would pay premium rates for warehouses with dependable power sources. PG&E unveils $73 billion spending plan to meet surging data center energy demand. U.S.-based utility PG&E Corp said on Monday it plans to spend $73 billion by 2030 for transmission upgrades to meet the data center-led surge in electricity demand. The company had said in July it was working to serve 10 gigawatts of new electricity demand from data center projects over the next 10 years. Power consumption is expected to hit record highs in 2025 and 2026, driven by a surge in demand from data centers due to increased adoption of AI, according to the United States Energy Information Administration. And on that note, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to publish a long-form video on my YouTube channel. So you may head over to, if you're watching this on X, you may head over to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for that video. Major announcement before National Day. DeepSeek version 3.2 released and open sourced, with API costs expected to decrease by over 50%. On September 29, the DeepSeek v3.2 expert model was officially released and open source on the Hugging Face platform. The model introduces sparse attention architecture, which reduces computational resource consumption and enhances model inference efficiency. DeepSeek has significantly lowered its official API pricing, with price reductions exceeding 50% effective immediately. We're going to talk about this one later. Okay. Carnival raises annual profit forecast on resilient cruise demand. Carnival Corp raised its annual forecast for profit, betting on strong demand as well as ticket pricing for its cruise vacations, even as macroeconomic uncertainties cast a shadow on consumer spending. Cruise operators, including Carnival and rival Royal Caribbean Group, have been racing to offer unique and private experiences by expanding their portfolio to meet strong demand for exclusive destinations. Carnival has invested $600 million in Celebration Key, an ambitious private resort destination on Grand Bahama, to help maintain its competitive edge, while bundled packages, perks such as drinks, Wi-Fi, and excursions have encouraged guests to spend more on board, further boosting revenue. Cruise bookings growth continues to outpace that of the airlines and hotels, even after several years of outperformance, said the vice president, head of insights at the research firm Consumer Edge. Carnival CEO Josh Weinstein said nearly half of 2026 was booked and in line with 2025 record levels at historical high prices for both its North America and Europe segments. Looking further ahead to 2017 is already off to a great start, achieving record booking volumes during the third quarter, he added. Cannabis stocks surge after Trump endorses cannabidiol for senior healthcare. Cannabis stocks surge after former President Trump. I don't think so. Let's do that again. Cannabis stocks surged after President Trump endorsed cannabidiol for CBD for senior healthcare, highlighting its potential to reduce disease progression and serve as an alternative to prescription drugs. Trump's support, coupled with the possibility of marijuana reclassification, boosted investor confidence in the cannabis sector. This potential reclassification could ease regulations, reduce tax burdens, and pave the way for broader legalization and increased institutional investment. Battlefield maker Electronic Arts to go private for $55 billion, making it the largest leveraged buyout ever. Video game developer Electronic Arts has agreed to sell itself to a group of private investors in a deal that values the maker of Battlefield and Madden NFL at $55 billion, making it the largest leveraged buyout in history. Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, Jared Kushner's Affinity Partners, and private equity firm Silver Lake came together to buy the popular video maker. They're financing with a combination of $36 billion in cash along with equity already held by PIF, as well as $20 billion in debt financed by JP Morgan, the company said Monday. Home contract signings jumped in August as mortgage rates dropped. Pending home sales rose more than expected last month, clocking in a 4% jump from July. Home contract signings rose more than expected in August, a sign that lower mortgage rates may be pushing some buyers and sellers back into the market. The pending home sales index rose 4% in August from a month earlier to 75, according to National Association of Realtors data released on Monday. Economics expected a much more modest gain, 0.4%. A level of 100 is equal to contract activity in 2001. I have wine on my head. Higher stakes, a Fed flying blind, and a data desert. What desert? I have wine and dessert in my mind. Let's start that again. Higher stakes, a Fed flying blind, and a data desert. Why this government shutdown could actually matter. It's hard to believe, but we made it almost 7 years without the government shutdown. That shutdown happened under President Trump's first term, and it was the longest in U.S. history. Ever since, throughout the rest of Trump's first term and under former President Joe Biden, we've been in a perennial state of will they or won't they. For the most part, investors and market have become desensitized to the drama after a string of last-minute compromises to avert the self-inflicted wound. But we're here to tell you that this time really could be different. It will again probably actually matter, even if the usual caveats, past shutdowns have represented a modest hit to economic growth and little, if any, longer-term pain for markets, which rightfully don't typically care. This is an opinion piece by Brett Logurito. Let's see the summary on this one. Too much fluff in these opinion pieces. A government shutdown is likely to occur on October 1st, with both parties holding firm on their positions. This shutdown could have significant consequences, including the potential mass firings on federal employees and the lack of crucial economic data, impacting both the labor market and inflation. I actually have a few short videos posted on the potential mass firings and the lack of crucial economic data. So you may head over to YouTube channel and check it out there. We're going to read the summary on this one as well. And now we have a Tesla article. Fed's Mirren says Trump economic overhaul driving down rates. Others see a risky bet. New Federal Reserve Governor Stephen Mirren advocates for significant interest rate cuts, believing President Trump's economic plans will lower the neutral rate. This view contrasts with other analysts and central bankers who estimate the neutral rate higher and are concerned about potential inflation risks from aggressive rate cuts. Mirren's dissent highlights the ongoing debate within the Fed about the appropriate level of interest rates. And Tesla. Tesla deliveries due, but this is the big news. Tesla will report third-quarter deliveries and production figures early Thursday, but the EV giant's biggest news of the week is the promised release of the latest version of full self-driving. Tesla stock has been surging in recent weeks on self-driving optimism. Shares rose slightly early Monday. Tesla deliveries are expected to come in at 447,750, according to analyst consensus compiled by FactSet. That would be up 16.6% versus Q2, but down 3.3% from Q3 of last year. However, not many analysts have updated their targets late July. More recent Tesla delivery forecasts have been in the 470,000 to 495,000 range. Tesla deliveries hit a record of 495,570 in Q4 of last year. Tesla's China and European registrations are running below year earlier levels, though Chinese sales are up substantially versus Q2. The big driver for Q3 deliveries is the September 30th expiration of the EV tax credit, pulling forward demand. Buyers can take delivery later and still get the EV tax credit as long as they make a firm order by September 30th with at least a nominal payment. Still, U.S. Tesla demand will likely plunge in Q4 and remain weak for some time. CEO Elon Musk said on the Q2 earnings call that Tesla faces a rough few quarters following the end of U.S. tax credits. So whether Tesla deliveries are strong or weak won't be that meaningful for the EV business going forward. Compared to Europe, China, and other key markets where monthly, weekly, or even daily auto sales data is available, U.S. sales aren't that timely. So the odds that Tesla deliveries will diverge significantly from expectations are exceptionally high in Q3. In addition to EV delivery and production figures, Tesla will report energy storage deployed in Q3. Tesla Energy has been a bright spot in the company's current business. All right, on that note, we're going to end it. But like I said, I'm going to publish some long-form videos on YouTube channel from now on Tesla, technology, and market updates, maybe some politics as well, as much as they relate to the markets. And then a short videos, a couple of them every day or so, which is the, if you like a short form videos, like 30-second, 35-second, that's the kind of way to consume breaking news. Keep updated with breaking news. That's you can head over to YouTube channel as well. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to publish those videos on X. I don't think X monetizes nearly as well as YouTube, so I may just keep it to YouTube. All right, on that note, thank you very much, everybody, and I will chat with you all next time. Take care.